Hello, folks. I am back with a product review, but before we get into that, I want to show you what came with from UPS today when I got home from the range, and here it is. It is the new 6-hour Romeo 1 Pro. This is an upgraded version from the previous models, and this one has a protective metal shroud on this. So Aaron Cowan from Sage Dynamics, so he can beat up on this, and hopefully this thing will survive. So I will get into a review with this later. I'm going to put it on my other SIG firearm that I call my Frankensour build. So I will put that on there, and I'll give you a review later. But right now we're going to talk about another new product. And yes, this is a Springfield Armory. I got this for my birthday a couple years ago, or prior to that SIG debacle. And yes, I will not get rid of this. This is a very good firearm, and I really like this firearm. But what I wanted to show you here is the new Compensator. It's I am I've always liked Wilson Combat for their particular parts. As you see, this is the Wilson Combat 10 round magazine. And let me, while I'm doing this, let me just show clear. So everybody that's worried about safety knows that everything is safe and there's nothing in the chamber here. So this is like I said, my Springfield Armory 1911 loaded. And I do have some Wilson parts on it. The first part you saw was my 10 round magazine. This is the magazine well. This is the cheater's magazine well, I like to call it. It just basically clips on, and then you put your grips over it. I also have a Wilson Combat extended magazine release slide catch right here. So usually my thumbs are not long enough, and even still they're not long enough to activate it. So it's better when I shoot. I usually just use this, and it makes it easier for me to activate that slide catch. But the real thing you want to look at is this is the Wilson Combat Compensator here. And I'm going to give you the model number. The model number is the 397S, and that's what it is right there. This is the old bushing right here at the bottom. That's what you see here. And this is the stainless version. It does come in a blued version. Another thing about this is this acts as its own bushing. So there's right as you see right here. So it acts as its own bushing. There are a couple differences between this one and other manufacturers, but what I like about this is you have 5 ports here. Really, 3 up top, 2 on the sides. I miscounted. Actually, 7 ports here. It's 3 up top, 2 on the sides here, 2 on the sides here, and that will make it 7 ports right here. Which is very good. It helps with recoil mitigation as well as getting your shots on target, and I'll explain that with a comparison with another comp. I really like this because it really works well with the theme I'm going here with the stainless. The other thing is this is the first Wilson Combat part that I actually had to have a gunsmith work on, because they do state on their website and then on their packaging, minor fitting required. So basically, when I tried to put this on manually myself, it was a little bit too thick. So when I tried to install the compensator, so it just would not fit between the barrel and the slide. So I went to my friend who is a gunsmith, and he took care of that for me. He also smoothed out the barrel so the action would be much smoother. And like I said, since it is part of the bushing, you see this comes back with the slide itself. So it's a combo bushing compensator. And you can use this also with a firearm that does not have a full length guide rod like this one. So it there no other than that, it's a really good compensator. What I like about it during shooting, it doesn't give me a whole bunch of flip, uh, like um, like other 1911s. I'm so used to using 1911, shooting 1911, so I don't really notice it as much until you put a compensator on. And I said in a previous video when I did a review on the uh, Valkyrie Dynamics compensator that I couldn't really tell the difference in recoil. And this is the Valkyrie Dynamics compensator on my Kimber Raptor 2. And with this compensator, as you see, there are 3 slots here as opposed to 7 here. Uh, it does go back and it does go back just like that one does. Everything fits with the slide. But the thing about this was an easy drop-in part. I actually installed this without having to send this with a gunsmith. I just popped it in. One of the differences, if you look at both of these, you'll see that on the Valkyrie compensator, the bottom piece kind of like matches or blends in with the dust cover at the bottom here. Now, one of the things about this is that can be a negative, and I'm sorry for muzzling you. You might have to use a tool just to, and they do have a tool that you can put inside to take this off, and you'll be able to take this off to break it down to clean it. But it's easy to install, that's not a problem. But you can use anything. Some people use a pick or something to break these down. So that's one of the major differences between this and the Wilson Combat one. The Wilson Combat is going to work traditional, just like a regular compensator. Um, on this Springfield Armory, this is a little different. This is a 2-piece guide rod that you use a wrench for. But if you didn't have a wrench on, if you just had a regular one here, it would have just been easier to, it's just easy to break down, just as if you any other 1911. Uh, Between the two, somebody asked me, which one do I like better? Well, it's hard to say, to tell you the truth, because originally I said I couldn't really tell the difference uh, when there was a, let's say, recoil, but now I really can tell the difference on flatness of shooting. And this shoots flatter, but this is a little bit more accurate with this comp. And I don't think the comp has to do with accuracy, but I think this shoots slightly flatter. They both shoot flat, but I'll give you an example. I'm going to throw up another firearm here. This is my Kimber KHX. Now on this, as you see, there's no compensator on here. Now, when I was shooting this particular firearm, uh, you can feel a little bit more recoil, and not only feeling a little bit more recoil, that with 1911s, it kind of gives you a push back, but there was noticeably a little more flip, so I had to work harder to get this back on target as opposed of both of these. And that was the difference between both of them. But talking about comparing these two with the compensator, I have some targets to show you what I'm talking about. All right. Now, on this particular target here, this is with the Kimber KHX. Now, when I started shooting this, I was shooting this at a rapid pace so I can get a better feel. And this is at 10 yards. I was fighting to keep myself on target here. But the problem that I was going through was that the shots were coming low, so I had to kind of like fight. So I like my shots up here, so it was kind of low. Now, compared with the Springfield Armory with the Wilson Combat, I felt as though that I can get myself on target a little better because it just tracked a little better. And with the Wilson Combat, with the excuse me, the Springfield Armory, in the manual it states has a 6 o'clock hold. So as you see here, I was aiming here. This is at 10 yards, and this is at another 10 yards at a rapid pace. Even with that 6 o'clock hold that I was applying, like so, my sights the sights were aiming roughly about here or at this line. That's how I targeted with really no issues. A couple flyers here, but with really no issues. I didn't really have to concentrate as much as with this one when it came to rapid shooting. So just regarding this compensator, I think it's a really, really good compensator for, like I said, for to keep good tracking. A lot of people say, are they worth it? Are they not worth it? Competitive shooters have been using compensators and so forth for years, so they must know something. But since I'm not a competitive shooter or know everything about compensators, I think this is a really good buy for the Wilson Combat because uh, it looks good on the gun. It makes the gun look really, really cool looking. But as aesthetics aside, I do think that this does have a functional purpose. Well, that's all I have, folks, regarding that compensator. I really like it. I think it changes the look. It gives this a different look and feel, and also with shooting. So, with that said, happy shooting, stay safe, hashtag 2A.